45 years of age now, Chris Melling, real Q Sports all-rounder, various forms of pool, and indeed has been a professional snooker player on the main tour in the past. One of the players he beat was Luca Brissell, who was world champion last year.
Yeah, he's going to be forced to elevate here. He'd like to play the 4-8 combination in the lower left. Yeah, and that elevation caused a mishit. Probably get another look at this. I don't know if he had any movement. He just shot it into the point. You've got to wonder, Michael, do you think the injury will have anything to do with this match? Could it play a small role? If it does, I would call it an equalizer. Probably benefit Imran at some point in this match.
You would think it would be, but then again, he did manage to push Lucius Yaps so close earlier today, and as I said, he didn't feel he was particularly tired out by having to walk around the table in the way he did. But then again, this is now his second match of the day, so I see what you're saying. It may catch up with him at some point.
And there you get a good look at the combination right down the pipe. I do believe the break will play a factor in this match. Both of these players get on with it. They play quick. Yeah, the one short. Michael, we've talked about it for 2 days now. When these guys miss the one into the middle, it seems like they're missing it low. And he actually caught those very, very full. Notice the cue ball all the way back up table. So the cut break almost non-existent on that one.
These two in opposition tonight, they've teamed up in the past, the recent past indeed, to great effect, because as the host nation of the World Cup of Pool in Brentwood the summer before last, Britain were able to nominate a B team, and it was these two, and they were drawn in the first round to play the British A team of Jason Shaw and Elliot Sanderson, and the B team won by 7-0. Ended up in the quarterfinals, where they were beaten by the eventual champions Spain.
Well, that's a nice hit there. He's going to gain distance. This is right up Melling's alley, typically. He's always up for the long shot. Looking at the purple 5, I believe it passes. Looks like it's got room. Really looking to just knock this down. Staying level as well, so he's going to go forward. And he's caught it heavy. Looks like Imran going to use the blue 2 here, sending the 1 up table. He wants to get nice and tight on it. Yeah, and he's done pretty well. For insurance, he's got the brown 7. In case Melling wanted to consider the jump. Melling, a big fan of the kick shot. YouTube his name, and you'll see trick shot after trick shot during matches. The young man gets up for the toughest of kicks. What's he got up his sleeve here?
Foul shot.
And that's going to be long. Hard to hit that ball at that pace. You know it's going to lengthen out, especially on the TV table with the lights. And so I'm sure he didn't expect it to lengthen that much. It's going to result in ball in hand. Imran with another opportunity to take a 2-0 lead.
And does so very swiftly.
The rack.
So the 1-9 combination. delivers that 2-0 lead for Imran Majid. Well, something like this we always want to have a look again. Much work to be done there, Scott, or was that pretty routine in your view?
I mean, the 9 was quite a bit away from the pocket. He actually had to cut that ball pretty good.
I have never seen anyone looking so nervous on the brink of victory in a match. But credit to Sanderson, he got through it in the end. And as you can imagine, if you know anything about his reputation, there was quite a celebration from him at the end.
Interesting, and yeah, I can only imagine. But hey, there's a lot up top, $250,000. Imran Majid looking forward to a piece of that 250. Oh, he's made contact with the brown. I think he wanted to slide underneath it. Now what? Gonna snooker him behind the 9? Yeah, and that's what he's gonna do. I gotta tell you, Melling, he's gotta be thrilled to even be at the table.
Just to clarify, by the way, that 250,000, that's just the winner's prize. That's only a quarter of the total prize fund here, which is $1 million, way beyond what we normally see in these events.
Yeah, 250 up top, which is, well, historical.
Extension called.
What's he got up his sleeve? I do enjoy watching this young man kick. He is so accurate. He's always got something up his sleeve, always got something in mind. This is going to have some speed on it, I have a feeling, or is he going to hit it soft and try and get behind the 8? Yeah, he's going to try and get behind the 8.
Foul shot.
Well, I didn't expect that,
Ball in
Michael.
hand.
Came short of the mark.
Please start the clock.
By quite some distance. Doesn't the 7 go in the lower right, or is he not looking at it? He had to have taken a look at it. It looks to me like it would go, but I guess not. Well, there's no rail yet.
Have a replay on that, please.
Well, Julian Roper isn't sure, so he wants to have another look. I think Imran is clearly surprised by that.
Please.
I don't believe that got a rail, Michael.
We should know after seeing this. Oh no. Ooh.
Foul shot.
No,
I still think you're right, yeah.
not even close.
Yeah, yeah. It got closer than I thought, but yeah, when it came to rest there, it didn't get there. So, what a mistake. Ball in hand,
Please start the
and
clock.
he gives it straight back over to Melling.
Yeah, and the worst part about that is I really feel like the 7 played in the lower right. I don't think he ever looked at it. So that is a heady mistake.
Oh yeah, massive lapse, and what a difference that makes to things. Majid looked like he was going 3-0 up in no time at all. Instead, the lead is
Melling
reduced to a
points the
single
rack.
rack. Majid leads this British clash 2-1.
Yeah, so you got to believe he was playing the 9 there, caught the pink a little thick, turned out just fine. You can see that limp still going on in Chris's walk.
Yeah, it definitely is, but as I was saying earlier, that is completely unrecognisable from earlier today. I was even thinking if he ends up playing with a shot clock, he's not going to be able to cope with it because it was taking him so long to move at all. So still noticeable, but it really has improved a huge amount since this morning.
Going to the jump bank here. Oh, very, very good try. Trying to see what type of angle Melling's got here. Wow, he stunned between the 6 and 7 and then back out between the 9 and 6. What a clean strike that was. That's right up his alley, though, Michael.
And a contender for shot of the match so far. Now, can he build on it to sweep into the lead for the first time?
Yeah, it's almost like Imran is helping him a little bit. He's had chances, as you stated, to go up at least 3-0.
So good at closing out racks, Melling, and he does it so quickly and efficiently. Once the hard part is done, he tends to coast to the line. So despite coming up dry with all three of his breaks so far in this match, and despite having to limp round the table, Chris Melling is now leading by 3 racks to 2.
Oh, he played to go into this. What a clever shot. The inside English helped him get up behind the purple. Not certain he's got him completely covered. The overhead tells me he did, and he did not. So Imran is going to have a pretty good look at it. I was fooled once again by the overhead, Michael. It's a big shot here for Majid.
Extension called.
Really just needs to put all the focus into knocking this down. The cue ball will take care of itself. He can just punch one rail over below the left middle. Matter of fact, he can just stay level here and come across. Yeah, very good strike. Very important to get that down. Yeah, I'm surprised he geared up with an inside low ball coming to the right long rail first, trying to draw that. Could have just chopped that with a center cue ball with a check side, and even if he runs into the 7, well, he was worried about the scratch line. That's why he drew it. So I do understand it. He's just overcut it.
Talked about there being a lot of fouls, a lot of missed pots as well, and it was noticeable there after being left that opening on the 6th that Melling was clearly in a bit of pain as he tried to line himself up for the shot and lean over the table for it. Still got that issue with his foot, as we know. He won't have any issue with the outcome of this rack, because once again the chance is there, and in no time at all he's pounced on it. And Melling is too clear once again at 5-3. Now let's look in on Ferragorst. The 2. If he can win this one, he'll get back level.
Yeah, ooh, the cue ball was scratching right in behind the 1 there in the 8. Knocked it out of the way. He'll take it.
1 behind, but I would suggest he's been the better player so far.
Well, he's definitely been the better breaker. Not that he's broken well, but he's been the better breaker.
Alexander Kazakis on the hill. 8-1 in the all-Greek clash with Nikos Economopoulos. So Kazakis now closest to victory of all those in action at the moment.
Well, watch the cue ball here. He forgot about something, and it's the white.
Ball in hand. Please start the clock.
He had half of it handled, Michael. Didn't realize he had enough pace to go in the drink. Well, there's one thing that Melling does good, and that's shoot straight.
Well, with that basketball comment earlier on, Scott, you made a reference to a sport that wouldn't be particularly familiar in my part of the world. I'm going to repay the compliment. We've had more fouls in this match than you'd see in a particularly bad-tempered Old Firm derby.
Wins the rack.
In that rack, it was the scratch from Imran Majid. Chris Melling made him pay for it, and he's a couple clear again at 6-4. Well, he's looking to take the scalp of Imran Majid here, and he's finally made the one in the side.
Yeah, where's this break been the last 45 minutes? I mean, looks like Shane Van Boning. Yeah, so now he's got work still to do. The 2 awfully steep into the left middle. 6, I believe, is covering up the bank in the right middle. He wants to stay aggressive. That's just his style.
Extension called.
And he's taking a little extra time calling his extension. Well, I'll tell you right now, that was steep. He had to hit it very, very clean in order to get that down.
Needs to make single elimination this time.
Yeah, well, Imran had a real good chance to keep Melling locked up here and run right into the 9, the object ball. Going at the 9 now, but using the 6 and 4 as cover. And basically playing the 2-way there.
No extension left.
Majid asking about the extension. Referee telling him, you have no extension left, and you're down to 1 second.
Foul shot.
And this is disaster.
Ball in hand. Please start the clock.
Fouls of various descriptions really have played a big part in the narrative of this match. That one could be decisive.
Interesting. He's going to take the steep cut. Jumping 4. There is traffic to avoid. Oh, you notice the 7 and the 8 on the right hand of your screen. Well, he's just going to split the gap. Well done, Mr. Melling.
Been around a long time, Chris Melling. As I said, he played in a couple of Mosconi Cups, both times on the winning side, over a decade ago. He's never someone who anyone wants to see against their name in the draw for one of these big events. Regularly gets through plenty of rounds, gets some big scalps. Make no mistake, he firmly believes he can win a tournament like this. Narrowly beaten by Lucius Yap earlier today in winners qualification. He's come to the loser side, needing to win one match, and he's done it. Finishing off with a run of 4 racks in a row, Chris Melling wins the All-British Clash with Imran Majid by 9 racks to 4.
So many big names, so many recognizable stars of this sport will be making their exit, including one of these two. And I think Jeremy Jones, it's a really tough one to call. But I will say, Woodward has got momentum on his side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Max, you know, can do as well as anyone to leave the last match behind. And it was a big match to qualify. He was a favorite. Now, his opponent did play really well. I got to watch quite a bit of it. But yeah, Max has got to get on with it here. He's a big breaker, though, and, you know, the break can really get you going.
The story so far for Max Lechner, the event began well. He beat Masato Yoshioka 9-2, then lost 9-5 in a real upset to Amir Ali from Iraq.
Yeah, but like I said, Ali, I got to watch it. He played a solid match behind a few mistakes from Lechner. And, you know, I think Lechner, you know, who had some incredible results, you know, in the last 2 years, not as much this year so far, but I think maybe feels a little pressure to get it over that line like another fellow Austrian Mario He. But again, he's a big breaker of the balls, and he displayed it right here in the opening rack. That can get you going as much as anything. Expect this to be a tight one, though, Phil. And I don't mean tight with the arm, just with the score. Big match moving forward with all kinds of implications. Little light there with the cue ball. This is an odd one. Anytime you're behind the ball, it kind of makes the pocket a hair smaller, believe it or not.
I'll tell you what, when we were at the UK Open in Telford recently, that would not have dropped. He must be immensely relieved that 9 ball somehow found its way into the pocket.
Yeah, I played a tough one with Rico Rampanen last night. Said he was kind of sluggish, you know, a long trip. Been here several days though, and said he felt a lot better, slept real well last night. So given the opportunity, I think he's going to perform. We'll just see how the 9 balls lay out for him tonight.
Yes, he made a slow start, as you say, against Rico Rampanen, but he won that match 9-4, and of course he badly needed to, because he'd lost his first match against Kuo Po Cheng of Chinese Taipei by the same score. Not an easy draw, though, Kuo, in the first round.
No, I think 2 times runner-up in the World Pool Championships, World 9-ball Championships, and he's gone on to qualify, so turning back the clock. Taking on the jump.
Foul stroke. Ball in hand.
Yeah, try to hit it kind of subtle. A little worried about the angle, and of course the in rail near. Didn't want to fly the cue ball off the table and caught the pink. Now I'll tell you another thing that comes in these players' mind, because I've seen more fouls on the jump this week than I've seen, you know. Didn't get a ton out of the cue ball. I don't think that was by design, but if he can bear down and pocket this 5, he should push the 7 into a little easier position. Don't let the cue ball float behind the 8 somehow. He's going to get some distance here on the 7, but he knew the 8 was very playable, so didn't mind that. Didn't want to get thin on the brown.
Encouraging that one, the way he knocked that particular pot in.
Well, he's playing at a nice pace. You know, I don't know if that's by design or what. You know, we always talk about Max's technique. You know, in the later stages, you know, he's a little more, you know, what's the right word? A little more abrupt with the stroke maybe, and very straight cueing, and of course possesses a lot of power, but at times can get a little snatchy, like all of us really. Yeah, this is the area where Skyler's really put in the work, breaking in, of course, trying to improve it. Wow, how does that 1 ball not fall? Maybe the 2 will help him. Yeah. Now, does he have the angle to go for a cross-side bank? If it's there, he'll certainly shoot it. Didn't sound like the best connection with the rack. Sounded a little combo-ish. Not sure I like this angle, but it may be there. It's really a natural if the 2 does play cross side. He can hit it with just a high left ball, going to the side rail, in rail, and back down for the 3.
While he mulls over this, he is the US Mosconi Cup captain this year. An integral part of his side will be Fedor Gorst, who has taken the lead against Kyle Amorotto at 7-6. Gorst doing things the hard way.
Yeah, it's really odd the week he's had. I mean, really maybe a little fortunate to be in this position. The match he lost in the opener, I didn't get to watch the match with the end that much last night. I know it was a grind, but ball control there, I don't know. It's close. But the opening match he lost was, you know, to be honest, probably the worst match I've ever seen him play, and it wasn't like he missed every rack or anything, and his opponent did play pretty well overall, but we're just used to more of that machine like Fedor Gorst.
Well jumped.
Yeah, and quite a lot of control because there wasn't a ton of angle. Easy to draw that too much, trying to catch 2 cushions and scratching that upper right. We'll see about Fedor Gorst, and some of the biggest stories in sports, and certainly in 9-ball pool, have been when players have struggled. We've talked about that with Albert Ocean many times, where he's turned things around mid-tournament and looked like the class when it came to the end.
Yeah, there are no guarantees about reaching single elimination regardless of your reputation, but if Gorst were to lose together with Ocean and Biardo before the last 64, that would be a remarkable trio.
And of course the pressure, you may label it as far as something like that. Man, Max has really picked it up from his last match, it seems. But
rack 6.
Filipino Roland Garcia on the hill against Hussein Maroum at 8-7 now. 8-7 for Sanyan Pilavanovic over Phuong Nam Pham, who refuses to go away quietly.
I'll tell you, maybe the biggest comeback in the tournament then, because I'm pretty sure Roland was down 7-1 in that match. I know 7-2 for sure. I was over there kind of sweating it before this match began. And Roland, of course, he's a fighter, and no one's given up anyways in any tournament, but especially here. Now things are going good for Max. He breaks the balls really well, but he's getting shots as also and taking advantage. He's got a little bit of a tough one on the 2 here, but not too bad with the cue ball near. May have to elevate and draw the cue ball back a bit. Got an angle. I think he can just kind of stun towards it without the draw stroke, but we'll see. One thing about Sufi that you gotta love is he really doesn't consider himself an underdog against anyone. I mean, he really plays like and feels like he's supposed to win. The more I see him, the more I believe it.
Well, given his backstory, playing pool, it's not pressure.
Yeah, absolutely, and we all learned so much about him at last year's World Pool Championships, and not just his game, of course, what you were alluding to.
Just when it seemed as though he's got a head of steam, that happens. In fact, it wasn't that shot, it was the one before. The loss of position that hurt the most.
Yeah, I think from that slight angle on the pink, he never dreamed that he could stun the cue ball 1 rail that far over, and you know, all kinds of ways to stop the cue ball with tip position and speed. And if you need that subtle swerve, best to use a little lower tip. That way the cue ball doesn't deflect quite as much. But it was always going to be difficult on the slick table. He's got to pay attention here. I don't think he has to get close. Just make sure you don't get snookered or some kind of awkward cueing. Oh, this has got a ton of speed. This could be the mistake that Max will regret.
Foul stroke. Ball in hand.
Well, I don't like to use the word, but I think here it fits like a glove. Clumsy.
Yeah, I said it. You don't have to get close. You just have to get out in between the 7 and 8, 8 and 9, excuse me. I mean, he's striking the ball nicely. You know, that's where we talk about it sometimes. Other sports, they have that caddy or coach and just may remind you how well you're playing, and let's not have a big error.
Well, in rack 8, it was success on a plate for Skyler Woodward after the scratch from Max Lechner that was entirely unnecessary. It is 5-3, and bear in mind, at one point, Woodward trailed 5-1. Chris Melling, who won our previous match on the main table, could not sort out the break at all. You would expect more from Skyler Woodward, but no one's guaranteed to knock in a ball. He didn't there. It's dry. And that's just what Max Lechner needed after that expensive enough.
Yeah, he can cue the ball nicely, too, to fall behind the blue 2 for the same. Oh, my. And that's that quick one that causes a little more deflection. Tends to hit the ball a little heavy, and an ad break coming after this game, and maybe good for both players. Wow, what a miss there.
We've seen this before from Max Lechner, playing a whole succession of racks very well, and then one mistake undermines his confidence, and he starts to deteriorate as Woodward starts to hit some form. That one ball was perhaps the best shot of the match so far.
One of the best shots of the day, I'll tell you. Yeah, nice control. I think he expected the 2 to be a little more towards the 3 here. Definitely left a makeable jump. Now, can he hold the cue ball, dig into the cue ball a little bit to maybe come into the 9 off one cushion? And that's what caused the miss, trying to dig on the cue ball.
The 2 remains hanging in the jaws of the pocket, and even though Lechner can't get through to the 2 directly, there are other ways.
Yeah, I think he can nip it in. He could double kiss it in if he had to. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. Got the angle off the rail with the cue ball.
After that mid-match crisis for Max Lechner, this is a much-needed rack. It was 3 racks in succession for Skyler Woodward, from 5-1 down to 5-4. For now,
Max
the
Lechner wins the rack.
rot has been stopped. Lechner's accuracy, control has been downgraded.
Is he trying to get to the side rail here? Thought, yeah. Yeah, but I was wondering, I mean, looked like to me he could cue it with a little inside spin and get to the top cushion and kind of come directly at the 7. Of course, the camera fools us all the time, and these players are at the table and will always know best. Can he even attack here? Even though the 8's over the corner, is the cut shot really a percentage play? Whew. Easy to hit this a hair heavy. Oh, that's class to recover there.
That kind of shot designed to restore equilibrium, to restore the confidence he had in taking that 5-1 lead.
Max Lechner wins the rack.
When you were captain of the Moscone Cup, Jeremy, I remember Skyler Woodward missed a 5-ball that cost the Americans dear.
Foul stroke. Ball in hand.
The old direct.
Please start the clock.
Well, I thought that was a pretty hard play there anyways. This one get away, little simple stun out to the middle. Yeah, I was a little worried about it. I am not going to lie, Phil. It's just the type of shot. When you have that type of technique and the pressure's on, you tend to maybe quit at the cue ball a little bit. You tend to create a little bit of a kick on the object ball, and just had a feeling.
Outstanding knowledge, Jeremy. I can tell you folks back home, Jeremy was shaking his head on that shot. He knew what was going to happen, or at least he suspected what was going to happen.
Yeah, I thought it was a possibility. It was just the type we've seen before, and not just with Max. Like I said, there's certain techniques when the pressure's on, you really have to kind of almost be conscious to be a little calmer. And from here, you know, well, that's way light. So he's going to have to come with one here. So it's been a bit scrappy on both ends. It's been good at times as well. Problem for Max is, you know, Skyler, he likes the end of matches. So Max may not get many opportunities if Skyler happens to get out here. That's got to go a bit as well. Yeah. All those shots right there, not necessarily underhit it, but it's just how you hit the pocket with the object ball. Catch it a little to the thick side, which it looks like he probably did. It cost you about a foot of cue ball or so. For it. Look at the cueing he's going to leave. Wow.
When pool players wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, this is the kind of shot that induces that kind of nightmare. Horrible, horrible. Let's throw in another horrible.
Yeah. You know, this cueing, if the object ball's a foot away, is super uncomfortable. Now you're in the biggest tournament ever. It's 6 feet away. You've made a few mistakes coming in after a great start. Wow. Hats off there, Max Lechner, to get to the hill as well.
It wiped its feet, as they say, but we'll give him a free pass on that one. That was terrific cueing. What a way to win the rack. Looked as though he might have thrown it away. Instead, he's 3 in front with 4 to play. Max Lechner, 8-5 up.
Some of the great players really take it hard and understandable. But when they're still in the tournament and they take a loss, they really can leave it behind.
wonder whether history is about to repeat itself here, you know. Mohamed Soufi, the Syrian runner-up last year, has beaten Chang Junlin. He turned on the Jets towards the end of that match, winning by 9 racks to 4. He rattles through racks and he can turn a match on its head in a matter of moments.
And it's, you know, Soufi, of course, his style can get anyone on edge just because the way he plays, and it's so incredible. And the balls he knocks in, of course, he can clear a rack in seconds, it seems, but big shot here. Winning shot if he can knock it in and get shaped. Pretty natural to go 2 cushions at the 8. What a nice shot. Got through the ball better than he expected, probably. We're probably going to lose Skyler Woodward unless a real big miss. But the one that still baffles me is just, where's Chang Junlin been?
He's had these worrying moments in this match. Moments of genuine concern, Max Lechner. He has made mistakes, plenty of them. But it looks as though he's going to get the W.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, good thing for Max, and what a great out he made. The 8 jacked up in the last game, but good thing he got that lead early, possibly. That may have been the difference.
Max Lechner wins the
Austria's
match,
finest player, Albin Auschen, might be out of this championship, but Max Lechner, look at him. He's loving life and he's through to single elimination. I'm afraid, though, Skyler Woodward, the US Mosconi Cup captain, is going home, beaten by 9 racks to 6. Max is not mad this evening.